Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Dan Blanchard with the Travel and Time with Dan Show, where we mix travel with history, with leadership, and of course with me, Dan Blanchard. Today I'm in Philadelphia's Carpenters Hall, right? This is the Carpenters Guild, and it's actually the oldest trade guild in the United States, right? It was owned by the Carpenters Company, which is still 250 years later, still the owner of this place, making it one of the oldest owners in the United States. Now, what a lot of people don't realize about the trades or the guilds back during the revolutionary times in America, late 1700s, was that the guilds, the trades, they were like a dominant force in the political and economical landscape. All right, a dominant force here, all right, in the political and economic landscape. This is where the Patriots of the 13 colonies came to discuss the coercive acts, right, the intolerable acts, the coercive acts, all right, that England put on us, and they wanted to do something about it. So this is the place, 1774, this is the place of the First Continental Congress. Georgia was the only colony that was missing from this, all right? So they're going to discuss, what are we going to do? And while they're here, they put on the books for this following year, 1775, to maybe look at maybe military action if nothing has gotten better, maybe some military action. But they're going to try not to declare their independence, but they're going to try to figure out something that would send a message to England that they are not happy with England, that England's mistreating them, and England needs to change the way they're doing things. All right. So you can see it's just the beautiful Georgian architect. One of the reasons they picked this place was they wanted kind of to get away from the English sanctioned government buildings here in Philadelphia and kind of go to something that England didn't really own, or it wasn't like a symbol of English power. So they came here. Again, this is like the guilds, the trades, right? And this is very, very important. Right? So they came. So while they're here, right, away from the British eye, they could speak more candidly, right, and be a little more real about their feelings and what they should do without hopefully being found out, right? So while they're here, this First Continental Congress in 1774, right, they come up with this Continental Association, right, of a boycott. Right? There's going to be economic warfare, this boycott, all right? And while they're here, they got some of the brightest minds of the colonies are here, right, of debating and going back and forth, arguing, and it literally becomes the epicenter of like American Enlightenment is taking place right here as the most brilliant minds of the colonies are going back and forth on what needs to be done. Again, they're not going to declare independence. They want to send a message, and that message to England is going to be a boycott, right? They're going to boycott and hit them in the pocketbook where it hurts, right? So it's going to be an economic message. Now, this place is just so fascinating. Here, it wasn't just the First Continental Congress. Franklin's Library Company was one of the first in the country. His library company's here, okay? The American Philosophical Society is here, all right? I mean, that's so cool, right? That's also here. And the First and Second Bank was here, right? So while they're here arguing the First Continental Congress in 1774, remember, Second's coming in 1775. That's where bloodshed has already happened, and they're going to basically declare war. But again, they're not declaring war here. The first one, they're not declaring independence even here. They just got to send England some kind of message, and they do that through the Articles of Association that they develop here. They do that, and again, like I said, it's economic warfare, right? They're going to send a very strong message, hurt England with the money. They're going to boycott English goods and make it so England loses a lot of money with their goods. They're also going to do something very interesting. They're going to boycott the Transatlantic slave trade, right? Now, we're not saying that they're going to outlaw slavery here in the colonies. They're not going to do that, right? They do have slaves here. Multiple of the delegates here have slaves that are waiting for them back where they're staying in the city, right, in Philadelphia, right? So they're not going to outlaw slavery, but they're going to they're going to boycott. All right, again, they're not outlawing it. They're boycotting. None of them. No one's going to buy any more slaves from England in that transatlantic slave trade. Again, hitting England in the pocketbook and trying to send them a message, right? Hopefully where it hurts enough. And of course, the big item obviously is tea. So they're going to boycott the tea, English tea, make it so they can't have any money, okay? Here also, right, Hamilton comes up with the necessary and proper clause for the Constitution, which was mind-blowing, impactful, gave the Constitution some real power and some real teeth, right? It's just a lot of amazing things going on here. Again, this is like the epicenter of the American Enlightenment, all right? So now, when I do these shows, right, of Travel in Time with Dan, mixed travel with history, with leadership, and of course me, right? So, this is really cool. I mean, all of Philadelphia is a really cool area. But here, this Carpenters Hall, I mean, the world changed right here in Carpenters Hall. You should definitely come down and check out Carpenters Hall, right? History, I've already given you some of the history here. The leadership is this. You ready for this? Great leaders build unity before they build change, all right? Finding common ground and creating teamwork among people who may not initially agree is very important. Like a lot of these guys, the 12 out of the 13 colonies and representatives, a lot of these disagreed. They disagreed, but they had to figure it out. They had to debate it and negotiate and compromise and all get on the same page before they could do anything about what England was doing to them. And they did. They figured out right here. A little economical warfare. Hit them in the pocketbook where it hurts. Right? That had to get their attention, right? It was effective. All right? Of course, England's going to escalate things from here, and they are going to go to war, and there is going to be a Second Continental Congress. All right? So, one last closing thought while I'm thinking about it. The architecture here, right, of the Carpenters Hall, these Carpenters Guild people, if you go look around Philadelphia, Independence Hall, Franklin's Mansion, a lot of the buildings here were built by them. Right? They were built by them. It's very, very influential. Remember, they were a big, big part of the political and economic landscape during the times. All right, everybody, thank you for spending time with me today on Travel in Time with Dan, where we mix travel, history, and leadership, and of course me, Dan Blanchard. Back real soon with another great episode somewhere else. Take care now.